Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Garden of Sports. I'm your host, Jake Gardner, alongside my brother, Zach.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, and we're here for
Yeah.
quick Week 15 recap and Week 16 prep for your fantasy basketball leagues. We focus points leagues, but we also get into categories leagues, like if guys are more talented in that kind of league for stuff in the stat sheet. So, anyway, without further ado,
Can't stop, won't stop till we hit the top.
yeah, surprises of the week. OG Anunoby, 34.6 average in the last 7. I actually think I have that wrong. Zach, if you want to look that up real quick. But
yeah,
he's been going off this week on a team where he's basically the third, if not fourth best player because of the rookie, Scotty. So it's kind of crazy to see these numbers from him still. And he did start off the season that way, and then he was out a while, and that's when Scotty broke out. So I didn't think he would quite come back to form, but it's nice to see. Cade Cunningham, 40 average in the last week, so he's proving... He had some kind of statement saying, like, he is the best rookie, and then right after that, he started going off.
46 average the last 7 days.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Anunoby, yeah.
That's what I thought. I was like, this is definitely off. I know he was going off, so...
He was my only hope, so...
Yeah, hello there. 46 average, I mean, that's insane when you're the third or fourth best player on a team. So, Toronto's clicking on all cylinders on offense. They just don't have that defense, besides, like, Siakam. Actually, OG's supposed to be good at defense. I don't know.
He is, yeah.
Maybe they only have...
Siakam are pretty good together from what I've gathered.
Maybe Fred's, like, a big liability or something, and that's why they get broken down so easily. I don't know. I have to look more into their defensive rating, but anyway, back to Cade. He said he was the rookie of the year, or best rookie in the class, and then right after that statement, started going off, and 40 average, and I don't see why this isn't something he can maintain going forward, because he was drafted as such. So, keep your eyes out. Maybe it's a guy, like a must trade. Obviously, it's not a buy low when he's going off, but Robert Williams, finally the guy that we said he would be, at least for a week. 39.4 average, but it comes at a time that Al Horford is really slowing down too, like, which we predicted. He just couldn't do it a whole NBA season anymore at his age. I mean, nobody else is LeBron and Chris Paul. Like, you can't just keep up at that pace.
Right.
So it's Robert Williams' time. As long as he stays healthy, it looks like he's locking it in. RJ Barrett, this is the second week in a row, going off, 39.4 average. He's kind of taken over as the main guy in a sense. Like, Julius Randle might have had one of his worst weeks of the year so far, and RJ Barrett's just kind of hitting his stride. And then Cole Anthony, somebody you were worried about, 36.8 average, so he's finally hitting his shots. And
damn,
like, Jalen Suggs took over for a week, but if you go look now, Jalen Suggs, the past this week, is Cole Anthony's going off, isn't doing too good. So
yeah, it's like which one's gonna go off each week, I type of thing. I
guess it's either or. But yeah, with that storylines, I just want to ask you some questions, Zach. Will Cleveland win a series in the playoffs? Right now, they're the 4 seed, basically tied for the 2 seed with the Bulls and the 76ers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they're a top 4 seed, or if they end up staying at the 4, can they beat the Bucks? Probably not. But if they get a higher seed than that, could they beat the Nets or the Hornets?
Yeah, I think they definitely could. They it seems like they have a pretty deep team, some good players. I definitely think they could definitely win I really think they could win a series for sure. I don't know if they could win much more than maybe one series and make it to the second round, but I think they could definitely go that far for sure. They got a lot of talent. I could see it.
Yeah, they have amazing young talent, and I mean, getting Sexton back maybe would help, but they said he's out for the season. But if they got up to the 2 seed, they could definitely beat the Hornets in a first round. I just don't see them beating the other top 5 seeds, and I don't see them beating the Nets, who are at the 6th seed right now, because Kevin Durant will be back.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man. If they somehow, like, the Bulls and Cleveland got matched up and they were the 3 and the 6, that'd be a good ass series.
Well, yeah, if that's the first round series, I think they don't win one then. I think the Bulls would get past them if they have Patrick Williams back. They have maybe traded for somebody at that point too.
Yeah, and we need our defensive studs back.
But, yeah, so
yeah, we can beat them, but they'll be competitive.
At this point, it's just get the Bulls to the playoffs and be able to have everybody healthy for the first round.
Yeah, we gotta start getting some wins though, for sure. This is our worst 10-game stretch of the year. Can the Hornets, the high octane Hornets, can they beat a top seed in the first round? They're basically sticking around I have a pretty good record. They're 28-22. They're the 7 seed.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're going to stay around this area, like the bottom seeding.
Yeah.
Can they beat somebody like the Bulls or the 76ers or no? Just not a chance. They just have that crazy offense,
Yeah, I could see that maybe happening. Like, I think they would be they would be that scary 7th or 8th seed that takes a team by surprise, kind of maybe wins like the first 2 games and then kind of shakes things up, scares some people a little bit. But I don't know if they could put it all together and win a series. But, they could, if they get out to a really hot start and that offense is clicking like that, and I think they could take a few teams by surprise and maybe win a series for sure.
Yeah, totally agree. Their offense would have to be going off every game because they have no defense at all.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
they have so many people who can attack you. It's just really hard to defend, no matter who you are.
Yeah, it is. That starting 5, any one of those guys can get points. Can fill up the stat sheets. So it's just they're tough.
That'd be scary.
They're a tough team to outscore, but they don't. They give up points though. So it's like. It's going to be a track. It's going to be a track meet with them, but I don't know if they need to get better on defense for sure if they're going to be a great team moving forward. But they could definitely be a fun team to watch in the first round for sure.
Yeah, dude. If it was Cleveland versus the Hornets, just those 2 crazy young offenses, that'd be fun.
That would be must-watch TV.
Yeah. All right. And then last thing. The West kind of sucks, and the Clippers are just sticking around, bro.
Yeah, them and the Lakers both. It's like, who's gonna finish, closer to 500? I don't know.
Clippers are doing better, dude, by 1 game, but
yeah,
I just didn't expect it because, the Morris twins, the brother on that team, I think it's Marcus. He's out for personal reasons, like the past 4 or 5 games. He was their leader when Paul George went down, and like he was their kind of leading contributor. Now it's Luke Kennard's kind of taken that mantle, but they're so depleted that it's crazy to see them still in the 7th seed. They're gonna get wiped, dude. the Warriors versus the Clippers.
Yeah,
is that the easiest sweep in the past 10 years?
Probably. They'll be sitting. Insane. They'll be sitting.
I mean, unless
Thompson in the 4th quarter,
unless Paul George and Kawhi came back, how scary would that be?
Yeah, I think Kawhi. I mean, I haven't heard much. Is he coming back soon? What's the scoop on him?
A month ago, they said there's a chance now.
Okay.
Before that, there was nothing. So
they just need to get in then, and hopefully he could come back with 2 weeks left in the season to kind of get his legs under him before the playoffs. But we'll see.
Yeah, totally agree. That'd be crazy, but otherwise the Warriors are beating the crap out of them.
Yeah.
And even then, they would need time to get ready, or they're not going to beat them.
Right.
All right, well, those are the main teams I wanted to talk about. Everyone else is doing their thing. I mean, we know the Grizzlies are just winners now, so.
Yep.
Injury news, dude. So I'm just going off of ESPN now. It's just so we don't miss anybody, And plus, you can miss players, and the COVID list is kind of almost done in a sense. You can kind of combine them now.
Yeah.
The NBA, at least. I don't know how the NHL's doing for you, but I'm just going to run through it real quick. And, you do your thing, buddy. DeAndre Hunter and Trae Young are day-to-day, so shouldn't be an issue there. For the Celtics, nobody fantasy relevant. Brooklyn Nets, James Harden is day-to-day. Probably for us purposes. LaMarcus Aldridge day-to-day. Kelly Oubre is day-to-day questionable with an ankle for Sunday's game, so that sucks because he's been going off lately, so you might have to stream somebody. Wow. Gordon Hayward, foot, was placed in the league's health and safety protocols, so waiting on him to come back. For the Bulls, everybody knows... Well, not everybody knows, I guess. The Patrick Williams news is that he might be back this year. So you could add him to your watch list, but he probably won't be super fantasy relevant.
Yeah.
Cleveland Cavaliers, Lauri Markkanen is out for at least 2 weeks with a sprained right ankle, so that opened it up for Kevin Love to go off this week. So check that out for sure. Porzingis, of course he's hurt again, knee, will not play in Sunday's game against the Magic. So always concerning, but we'll see. Tim Hardaway Jr. suffered a fracture of the fifth metatarsal on his left foot during Tuesday's game. Wow. So he could be out a while. So Jalen Brunson's like a grab if he's somehow available in your league. For the Denver Nuggets, Will Barton's day-to-day with an illness. Doesn't say it's COVID. DeMarcus Cousins is probable for Sunday, so that's good news. Jamal Murray, even though he's been out, is in the health and safety protocols. So Jeremy Grant conditioning. So he's been in the G League, if you didn't know about that, but he's been ruled out for Sunday's game. I think he's almost back, though.
Okay.
Kelly Olynyk came back for a game, was put on the COVID list. We talked about this last week. And now it's just conditioning to get him back into the game. So he's out for Sunday, but it's like a must-grab for the future. Who else is fantasy relevant here? Draymond Green, they're still basically they're being super vague about his progress, so don't even have to dive into that. Kevin Porter Jr. is out. It's not listed as why. I would go with an ankle. Indiana Pacers. So one of our top grabs last week, Goga Bitadze? He's day-to-day. Anyway, he rolled his ankle, so he's a drop at this point.
Okay.
Brogdon, I haven't heard anything because he was shut down for 10 days, and that was the last news, so I think it's almost near the end of that. Miles Turner it's still in the same 2-week shutdown period for the foot, the stretch reaction in the foot.
Okay.
Nicholas Batum is day-to-day for Sunday's game against the Hornets due to lower back soreness. The Lakers are super beat up. Anthony Davis' wrist has been upgraded to questionable. Oh, from questionable to probable for Sunday's game, so that's good. They'll have somebody.
Hey, hell yeah.
Westbrook is day-to-day. Malik Monk groin is probable. LeBron James' knee is out, so this is big news on LeBron. 3 games in a row he's been out with that knee injury. So
that sucks because he's been carrying me.
Yeah, I think it's just management though, because
he'll be back, but
his age and how much he's been going off. I don't think he's actually got any major injury, but
he wanted a week off, probably.
Let's hope not. Yeah.
His daughter had a musical or something.
Oh my god. Dylan Brooks is the same news. Miami Heat. Kyle Lowry's still out for personal reasons, so that's gonna be frustrating for owners, but you cannot drop him. He will come back. I don't see him. It's either, it's probably just some family matter and it's taken a couple weeks, that's all.
Yeah.
He's fully healthy when he's back, he's gonna be great. If you drop him, it's just you're not gonna get him back. Somebody's gonna use a waiver if they're ahead of you, and that's it. D'Angelo Russell, Shen is questionable for Sunday's game against the Jazz.
Oh shit. We were talking about him as a what was he, a buy low?
Sell high?
Sell high. Was it a sell high? One of the two. We were talking about him for trading though.
Last week.
And it was just trade. I think it was sell high, and we were like, you should maybe think about it just because of his injury history, and then here we are.
Yeah, it's just some guys can't get past it, which sucks, but so in fantasy you just gotta kind of trade away. If you stuck, if they were the best player left in the draft at that point, you had to take them, but now you could try to get rid of them.
Yep.
Jonas Valanciunas' illness is out for Saturday's game, so that leaves it wide open for your boy Zach, who you picked up. Hernan Gomez, he'll keep going off.
Okay, because he didn't go off last night.
Mm-hmm.
But that's good to hear, though, that Valanciunas is going to miss some time because that'll help carry me through with all my injuries I'm dealing with right now. And in that league.
Let's make a trade.
All right, let's make a trade, bro.
Brandon Ingram ankle is out Saturday, so they're really holding him back. Like, they're not going to lose their star and any trade powers, so they're being super careful with him. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is out, and I don't know why it's not listed here. Could you pull that up on the fantasy app, Zach? It's not listed on the ESPN app, but this is just like, it just came out yesterday why he's out.
Gilgeous?
Yeah, Shai.
Okay.
Otherwise, he's the only one on OKC that's relevant.
Sustained a right ankle sprain Friday against the Pacers. Will be reevaluated after the All-Star break.
Okay.
Went to the locker room in the third quarter. He'll be forced to miss several weeks with his ankle injury.
Oh, several weeks.
Yeah, I mean, the All-Star break, that's going to at least be a couple weeks, right? Isn't that like next week or a week after?
Yeah, dude. Add Dort to my grab list, please.
All right. If you're throwing darts, throw a dart at Dort.
That was the worst one yet. Magic don't really have anybody that's fantasy relevant to you guys. Shake Milton back has been ruled out for Saturday. Ben Simmons is Ben Simmons. DeAndre Ayton, this is what I'm getting concerned about. Ankle is questionable for Sunday. He's basically been listed as questionable or out ahead of time for the past week and a half. So
yeah, it ain't looking good, man. I own him in another league, and luckily I have some options. Like I have other guys that can play center, but like he was like my third or fourth pick, and he's really done nothing this year. But
he's your third or fourth? Oh yeah,
third or fourth pick,
he'll be good when he comes back. It's just that because they're so dominant, they don't need to rush him back, I guess.
Okay, you
That's
don't
part
think
of
this
it.
was a serious injury?
I think it was a bad roll at this point because I thought it would only be a couple games.
It says he's questionable for Sunday's game. I don't know if he's been questionable every game, but
some of them he was questionable, some he was listed as out like a day ahead. So I don't know.
Okay, so maybe he'll be back sometime this week, hopefully.
Yeah, but Bismack Biyombo's been going off in his place. You thought it would be JaVale, but it's Bismack. Robert Covington on the Trailblazers knee is probable for Sunday. Norman Powell is probable for Sunday. So, even though people kind of wrote them off after Lillard is out, CJ McCollum has come back, giving them some leadership, and they look pretty good now.
Hell yeah.
They're sticking with teams. Sacramento Kings, De'Aaron Fox, ankle has been ruled out for Saturday's game, so he basically missed this whole week with this ankle injury. So, that sucks, but that's always what he injures too, is his freaking ankle. Because he plays so hard. San Antonio Spurs, Derek White and DeJounte Murray are out today for rest purposes. So the Spurs are like a guaranteed L. If you want to make a bet for the other team, it's just money. That's their two best players. Jacob Pulte is also out, and that's their center who's been going off. So 3 of their starting 5 are out. Toronto Raptors, nobody relevant. I mean, no, we don't have to go over that. Utah Jazz, Donovan Mitchell, concussion is questionable for Sunday, so he's finally almost back. He's been out like a week and a half with this concussion. So, really hoping to get him back. Rudy Gobert, calf, won't play Sunday, so you can stream Hassan Whiteside again if you have him, or if he's available.
I got him in.
But, yeah, they're going to be super careful with him. I mean, big men with calf injuries, they get out a while. I mean, look at Draymond Green. He's been out weeks.
Yeah.
Hopefully his isn't as bad, but anyway, that's the injury news, man.
There you go. It's that injury news.
Yeah, let's get into those trade targets so people stop getting bored.
Yeah, let's do it.
Julius Randle is a buy low because he's been sucking ass before the All-Star break. I expect a big second half I think he needs that All-Star break to motivate him because he's probably not making it this year, even though he was a starter last year.
Right.
And yeah, it's such a bad year. His numbers are way down. He doesn't deserve it. Maybe that'll light a fire under him. Maybe need some rest, but I think big second half coming, plus 40 average. It's not that he's going to reach last year's potential, but this was a second round draft pick you could probably get in a trade. John Collins, 28.8 average in the last 7. He
does this though. This is like,
it's been a couple weeks though. I don't know. The whole team is struggling, man.
Yeah, I mean he's a hot and cold player though. I've owned him before.
Yeah, I would try to get him though. Still.
Yeah, because when he's on a hot streak, he's great.
Yeah, Atlanta can always go on a run.
Yeah.
Wendell Carter Jr., 28.8 average in the last 7. This is like a cheaper buy low because this doesn't have as big of name value, but he could definitely do better than 30 on the year. So Harrison Barnes, 28.2 average. This is a guy who's a wanted position by other teams, power forward, and on another team he could just open up more. Like, I don't know, Sacramento's such a shit show. If he could be in a better team, but better team basketball, he can get his stats up.
Okay.
And I mean, his average on the year is around here anyway, but I think it's a little down right now. He's usually a little bit above 30. Mike Conley, 27.4 average in the last 7. I think he'll do a lot better when Donovan Mitchell is back, he plays better because he can't be the number 1 guy anymore. He's the number 2 guard. Really the number 3 guy in the offense, but he should be better than this. He could get to plus 30. He is getting older, but if you need a guard, it's a nice buy low. Desmond Bane for the Grizzlies, 27.4 average in the last week. I would try to get him. I think he could definitely finish above 30. I mean, his average on the year is above 30, so...
Yeah.
One of the biggest buy lows I'm trying to get right now is Jared Allen. 26.5 average. And he's been a buy low for 2 weeks, so it's nice to... Like, for a buy low, it's nice to see it happen for 2 weeks in a row, so the owner doesn't just be like, oh, it's just been 1 week. So you actually have a chance at him in a trade, I think, if it's a person who's hard to trade with.
Yeah.
So Jared Allen's the biggest buy low probably on this list because he can always get near 40. And
easily, yeah.
On the year average in points leagues is like 36 still, even with a couple bad weeks. So,
yep.
Go get him. Karis LeVert, 25.9 average. He's coming off of injury in the past week, but he's still the best player available on the team right now. And Sabonis is back. He'll have a guy to pass to. I'd try to get him. I know it's a crap show, but it's the trade, the big blow up looming over their heads that I think they're not playing as good at basketball and all the injuries. I don't know. He could be way better than this. Last year he was like the second half steal, kind of.
Yep.
I mean, he helped win you your league if you had him last year. You know. Marcus Smart, 25.7 average in the last 7.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. Marcus Smart's better than this. Everybody should know this if you've been playing for a couple of years. Because of his defensive stats, he's usually always above 30 in points leagues, or right around there. So go and get this guy. I'd probably go for him over Mike Conley, for sure. Tyler Hero, 24.4 average in the last 7. He's the 6th man of the Heat. This one is a question mark because the Heat starting 5 is basically back besides Lowry. And he was really doing well in a way, because of all the different injuries that kept happening to the team. And now everybody's back and his numbers are a little bit down, but still, on the year, it's like a 32-point fantasy average. I would see if I could buy low. He could get 6th man of the year award. So, Clint Capella, 23.4 average. Yeah, coming off of injury, not doing too hot, man. Like we said, the whole team is down in Atlanta, but this is another great center to go for. I know he's got some foot history injuries that, I don't know, you could be a little scared to see if he's going to get hurt again with the same injury, and maybe that's why his numbers are down.
Yeah.
So it's a little riskier than going for somebody like Jared Allen, but also cheaper. And I would try to get him. He can always get around 40 also, just like just like Jared Allen. Spencer Dinwiddie, 21.8 average in the last 7. I'm starting to get off the hype train for him because it's been, it's like you said, it's almost All-Star break. He's had like maybe one good like 2 to 3 week span, and then maybe it was like a month because he does have like a 28 average, but I don't know. It keeps doing this where he goes just off the rails and he's doing really bad. So, but still, it's a buy low target nonetheless because he's better than 21.8.
Yes.
Zach, would you buy low on Kemba Walker?
Jake, I think I would.
Why is that?
Because with a name like Kemba, who wouldn't want him on his team? No, I would send an offer over. I wouldn't give up much, and if it got denied, I'd be like, okay, moving on with my life.
Yeah, he also is like, people are dropping him. I almost dropped him, dude. So he had like 2 games of just horrid play. And then
I might send over like Devin Vassell for Kemba Walker straight up.
Yeah, you could do that. That's basically how cheap he is right now.
Yeah.
But if anybody thinks he could have a big second half, like rest during the All-Star break, New York gets their crap together.
I mean,
I'd try to buy low.
I think he's worth a buy low just because he's historically, he's been a pretty damn good player over his career.
He's always been in points leagues above 30.
Yeah, he's been a great player over his career, and just a guy like that with that name value in the NBA is capable of going on a hot streak and turning something around any given time. I would, over an unproven young player like Devin Vassell, if he's like the worst player on your team, and you have a chance to trade that to get Kemba Walker, who could, who's a historically pretty good player, I think that's totally worth it, and I wouldn't think you're crazy for doing something like that. Just taking the chance on a proven veteran guy that could go off at any time.
Yeah.
And could get traded too.
Maybe give it, well, this is the cheapest he'll ever be, but if you give it another couple days, he could be dropped. He's already starting to be dropped, so you could get him for free if you really wanted him, but you would have to be a higher seed to be able to hold him until he can get his crap together. Otherwise you're going to get, you can't hold him if you're a low seed fighting for playoffs, which is actually me. So I don't know what I'm going to do, bro.
It's hard for us plebes.
I thought about trading him in that league, but let's go to sell highs. So
yeah, let's go.
Last week, Anthony Edwards was a buy low because he had a couple real bad weeks, like real mediocre. This week he goes insane.
I'm still upset that you got that trade and you have Anthony Edwards now.
No, it didn't. The trade got denied.
Oh wait, what? It did?
Shut up.
I'm
Fuck you.
I voted to uphold it, just so you know, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, basically everybody, let's see. I offered...
Well, everybody colluded against your collusion, so...
Yeah, I don't think they know the definition of that word.
I think they were the ones that did collusion.
Yeah. But, yeah, I was in trade talks with a guy for, like 3 or 4 days. He wanted Siakam, who's been going off lately.
Mm-hmm.
And we almost had a deal done for that. It was like Siakam and Keldon Johnson for Anthony Edwards and Tyrese Halliburton. And then
honestly,
all of a sudden,
that one should have gone. That one would have been probably gone through, and no one would have said much.
Yeah, keep listening. And then the next day, he just kind of changes who he wants, and he's like, "I want Bradley Beal." So he's kind of buying low on Bradley Beal because Bradley Beal hasn't been himself as good as he should be during the year, and he kind of was buying low in a big second half.
Yeah.
And so he changed Siakam he wanted Bradley Beal, which is my first round pick. And then he said, I'll do those two for Bradley Beal and just throw in a guy. So I threw in Herbert Jones, who has been going off lately.
He's a nobody, though.
But nobody knows his name. So the league basically, after the trade had not processed, but was active for voting, one guy just like flipped out, and
it was a
because of Herbert Jones though. Because of Herbert Jones, they didn't believe it was good enough, so it got vetoed. But then I was talking with the same guy again later, because it wasn't even us who vetoed it, obviously. And then he switched it back to he wants Siakam, and I was fine with that. And then we were discussing it, and I re-offered the same deal, Siakam and Keldon for Edwards and Halliburton, and it didn't happen. But funny thing is, Anthony Edwards went off this week, Halliburton went off this week, Siakam went off this week. Basically everybody that we were talking about for trades. Herbert Jones went off this week.
Yep.
And Keldon Johnson went off this week. So everybody we were talking about had one of their best weeks of their year. So it's just kind of
funny. But
yes.
Yeah, just see what you can do with Anthony Edwards. If you can't get something crazy, I'm imagining Jake's talking here about trading Anthony Edwards for something like a Siakam, something like that, where it's a consistent, proven guy that'll definitely get you 48 a game, when Anthony Edwards could have a little bit of a slump here and there just because he's young. So if you can't get something like that done, just keep Edwards and keep having him be one of the better players on your team.
Exactly. Yeah, you're going for Siakam, because he missed 2 weeks, I don't know if he's in the top 20 yet, but obviously he's playing with his average.
Yeah, I mean, for 3 or 4 weeks there, I don't know about this last week, but for 3 or 4 weeks, he was averaging over 50. Still averaging over 50.
He got 70 last night.
Yeah, I mean,
they went to triple OT. But
and I got a bunch of stuff for your next one here, Jake. I got a whole bunch for you.
Okay, so
but
OG Anunoby.
If that was it, if that was all you had on Edwards.
Yeah, no, just Edwards. I would try to trade him for a top player people might be down on, like James Harden with all his attitude problems. Just a guy who's consistently above 40, where Anthony Edwards, he goes off like this, but then his average is below 40 because he has down weeks. So he hasn't kept it up long term. So he's not to the same caliber as some of these other guys yet. But yeah, try to get one of those guys. Anybody who's down, who's the top 20 player on the year, go look at your league. I don't know your scoring settings, but who is in the top 20 for scoring? But yeah, OG Anunoby, what do you got?
So OG Anunoby, you asked the question, you asked the question, can he keep up, Mr. OG Anunoby, can he keep up a 45 average or higher as the third or fourth best player on the team? And I would say he's probably, when healthy and everything, he's probably the third best player on the team behind Siakam and the guard, whose name is escaping me, the point guard.
Fred VanVleet?
Yeah, so I'd say he's easily the third option. And
over Scotty Barnes?
I think so, because, and I know Scotty Barnes is a good offensive player, obviously, but OG Anunoby's not terrible offensively, and I have a couple references here for you.
Okay.
This is, I think, from last season or the off season this year going into this season, but there's a bunch of articles you can find from NBA writers and stuff about how Anunoby, a lot of people consider him one of the best isolation defenders in the whole game. I don't know if you knew this. I definitely didn't know this, so I'm kind of like him even more now. He ranks in the 94th percentile in isolation defense, according to NBA Advanced Stats, surrendering 0.6 points per possession in isolation. Of players who have played at least 48 games this year, Anunoby ranks 14th in isolation defense, right behind Kawhi Leonard. And while being in the 94th percentile is impressive, Anunoby is a very versatile defender. This is all from All Raptors Fan Nation. This is like a beat, like one of the Toronto beat writers writing this article up.
Okay.
Of players with a minimum of 2,000 possessions, Anunoby led the NBA this season. I think this is last season. In versatility, it's like a newer stat that attempts to measure how often a player defends different positions. He played 24% of his time defending small forwards, 24% of his time on shooting guards, 22% of his time on power forwards, and 16 and 13% of his time defending point guards and centers. So pretty much with those numbers being so close together, they can put him on anybody on the floor to defend, and he still does very well with it and doesn't give up a ton of, like, his plus minus is one of the best in the league.
Okay.
And this year, over the last 7 days since he came back from his injury, he is averaging 2.3 steals per game, 1.5 blocks per game, and he had a 4-steal game in there, had a 2-block game. He does great defensively, and I think with those defensive points that will keep him up there in those higher averages, and I think he can sustain it. So that long answer, but I just wanted to shine a light on how good defensively he is, and because people every year put him in, like, I didn't even realize this. People every year think that he could be in the defensive player of the year running. So
yeah, if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, that's the main thing. But
can he keep up his scoring and other stats to keep a 45 average?
I think he can, man. I think he just fits in the team that well. Even with, because he's still playing good with Scotty Barnes and Siakam and everybody, and I just think they play well together as a team. I think they're well coached.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he'll just continue doing his thing. I don't see any reason that anything's going to change. They're just kind of playing that system,
Yeah.
So I think that's a long way of me saying I believe he will keep up the 45, close to the 45 average. And of course, there'll be down games, but I think over the rest of the year,
I like breaking into advanced stats like that.
Yeah.
And that does help. Like, I still don't know if he can keep a 45. I think he could always keep 35. He's a great player. I think he's a great two-way guy. 45 is like the elite of the elite in fantasy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think
it's so hard to maintain.
I think he'll be close to it. I don't know. I just think that he's having a great week. I think he'll turn it in. Like, if he can stay healthy, I think he will kind of sustain that.
Okay, so Zach's holding.
I'm trying to trade for him, but I think it's kind of not going to happen the way it's going.
Yeah, you'd have to wait till he cools down, right?
Yeah.
So there's a buy low. I would still, just with all your news, I think I am more hesitant for sure. I'm trying to think. I would go for a top 30 player that's more of a 1 or 2 on their team instead of a 3. How about that?
I mean, I could agree with that. I wasn't saying, like, don't try and trade him. I was just saying, like, I think that he can keep up that high average, and obviously that could get you even more in a trade for sure. You could be trading for, like, you could be trading for, like, second round, third round picks with that type of average. You could be getting something crazy consistent. You could be getting, if you don't think that he's going to quite keep that up, you could definitely be talking with, like, the second round picks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, totally agree. Robert Williams and RJ Barrett, both at 39.4 in the past week. RJ Barrett's been doing this going off for like 2 weeks, like we said. But do we trust either of these players? They've both been so far in their careers. Okay. Definitely they've both been inconsistent.
Yeah.
I would try to get a more consistent player.
Maybe I'd be a little more interested in listening about maybe Robert Williams than I am with RJ Barrett. I go back to what, our preseason episode that we did with Aaron Morrison. And I always, whenever I think of RJ Barrett now, I think of what he said about RJ Barrett just being such a terrible defensive player, like a minus player, and I think that shows up in fantasy, like, because he can score, and I think that I haven't seen him put it all together yet. He definitely has all the talent, and that's what Aaron said, but, like, it's just, we just got to see. I haven't seen much to really believe in him yet, and I think that he could be a much better player if he played defense more and got a little stop playing hero ball out of him, always wanting to put up shots every time he has the ball, and I think that was, a great take by Aaron, and ever since, because I liked RJ Barrett a lot after last season, but like after we did that episode with Aaron and I actually watched some New York games, I could see all of that clear as day that he was talking about, and it's like, yeah, that he's got a lot to improve upon for sure. So it was kind of eye opening for me.
Yeah. Yeah, RJ Barrett, I think I'm more leaning towards selling high, and Robert Williams, I'm more like, I've been a big believer in him as a breakout guy for a while. But then he hasn't proven it and this is only a 1 week sample size. So that's why I'm still like, I could sell high. I don't know, man. But RJ Barrett for sure. I just don't think he has it. Like, he's not Paul George like he was listed as.
Yeah, definitely not.
In the draft class, he was basically talked about like, the next Paul George.
But he could maybe get there eventually, but definitely not now.
Yeah. Kevin Love, I don't know how much you could get from it, but because Lauri Markkanen had that injury, Kevin Love is now the power forward, and he's going off again. 38.8 average. Yeah, I would. And Cleveland's obviously trying to trade him.
They shot up those knees. Yeah,
he's proving that he's still got it. He's a power forward shooter, and a contender could use a guy like that could score at will. That's how good his shot is. So,
yep.
I don't know. Not going into that too much, but for fantasy, he's a must grab if he's not owned. And if you already had grabbed him, I would try to use him in a combo to trade for somebody better.
Yeah.
Kyle Kuzma, dude. I'm going to die on this hill, but 38 average. In the last week, he's been going off for 3 weeks now.
Yeah, I just don't know. It may be just his face. I just don't trust it,
I just don't believe he can keep up 38. That's my point. I said he could always be around 30. But 38 is just not maintainable. I don't know.
That's not a face that puts up 38,
Like 38 a night, that's what Anthony Edwards averages.
Yeah, I think I'm a little there with you. He's playing great, but like, why wouldn't you try and trade him for something that you definitely, that's like a no-brainer, Because Kyle Kuzma, I think everybody that owns him, while they may like what he's done so far, in the back of your mind, you're like, well, when's this gonna fall off?
Exactly. So try and see what you can get.
Yeah.
Yusuf Nurkic, great week at 37.7 in the last week. Can we trust him not to get hurt? Because it's kind of like a big D'Angelo Russell.
No.
Okay.
Hell no, you can't trust him not to get hurt. But that doesn't mean you don't want to have him in your lineups when he's healthy. But every game you're starting him, it's like, oh boy, is he gonna make it? Like.
Yeah, he's had a great run here, and he's looking like fantasy old, I guess. I think it's been 2 weeks now of him going off.
Yeah.
So he's found his form again. I just see him going down again though, because he plays hard and he's been injured like every year the past couple years.
Yep.
I would sell high. Try to get one of those centers we talked about as a buy low that is younger.
I think this might be the easiest sell high on this list, Jake, for sure.
Nurkic for Allen. That's a move.
I would do that in a freaking second for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
for sure. Gary Trent Jr. 36.9
definitely trading the tall Russian or the tall white guy for the black guy with the afro. I just think that you're getting the better part of that deal for sure every day of the week.
Oh my god. We're getting taken off of YouTube, people. Gary Trent Jr. 36.9 average in the last 7. Also on Portland. So Portland, like we said, they're going off offensively. They're not winning every game, but with CJ McCollum back, they have the talent to contend, or just not contend, but win in any game. They can play well. So Gary Trent Jr. is doing well again for them, and I would try to sell high just before this team blows it up, because I don't think they're staying together. Andrew Wiggins, huge week before the All-Star game after he was announced an All-Star. 36.7 average. Capitalize. That's all I got to say.
I'm right there with you.
When Clay first came back, his numbers were way down for the first couple weeks. This is his first good week since Clay is back. Get rid of him, dude.
Yeah.
Clay's just going to keep getting better and taking the ball away from him. So
I agree.
And that's my trades. Zach, you got any that I didn't say? Any names?
No, I think we're good.
All right, perfect. We're breaking the scoop. So a lot of players that are low owned went off this week, so we have to cover them all. I have about 12 guys here. But the must grab list, I got to keep. It's basically guys we've been talking about for weeks. Some of them are new, but Infernae Simons still only 54% owned, dude.
Yeah,
he's a freaking beast. I'm taking him off the graphic this week because it's been a month of him on the graphic, but he's got to get off
those
it.
Numbers up though, yeah.
His percent owned is like he's better than any of your bench bottom 3 players. That's a guarantee.
Yeah, but is he as good as Devin Vassell?
Yes.
Oh.
He's better than Devin Vassell, dude. What are you talking about?
But when I had both these guys at the beginning of the year, Vassell and Simons, because of injuries on my team, and I ended up dropping Simons and keeping Vassell, and I definitely made the wrong choice there. But Vassell's still not terrible enough to be a drop yet, so he just does enough to stay on the bottom of my team. But like, I definitely wish I still had Simons for sure.
Yeah, dude, beast mode. I regret ever dropping this dude. I'm pissed. In one of my, like, I have him in some leagues, but yeah, Herbert Jones, dude, best week of his career. Zach, well, while I'm talking, can you look up his shooting percentage? Because it's insane.
Yeah,
he's like so efficient as a small forward / power forward. But anyway, he's been sticking around 25 or above, and this week 31.7 average on the week. He's 22% owned. People are starting to notice he's 8% up in ESPN leagues. But I think he's a must grab until his shooting cools down, because you got to look at those numbers. He's such an efficient player for New Orleans, and it's like he's got something figured out. He's been doing this for over a month. Jared Vanderbilt, 32.2 average in the last 7.
He's shooting 50% from the field and 40% from 3 for the whole season.
Yeah, so those numbers are above average, correct?
Yeah.
Both of them?
Yeah, both for sure.
Because I think average league-wide is like...
high defensive grades.
Yeah, so it's not only the efficient shooting for him, but he is averaging over a block and over a steal, if I'm not mistaken, if you want to look at that, Zach.
Yeah, he is.
So categories leagues is like a must roster player.
2.2 assists, 1.6 blocks, 0.9 steals. Yeah.
Dude's insane. Categories leagues, he's going to help you win that league. He's going to put you over the edge. Points leagues, he's still great if you value defense, and he's a must grab. I bet he could be up to 40% by next week.
Hell yeah.
Jared Vanderbilt, 32.2 average. We've been talking about this guy for over a month.
On my team for like 2 months almost.
Yeah, he's the 4th best player on the Timberwolves, and he puts up good numbers. I don't know what else to say. 25.2% owned. Like, it's a free grab, basically.
Yeah.
Luke Kennard. So, like I said, the Morris brother on the Clippers is out for personal reasons. We don't know what it is, so somebody had to take that mantle. Yeah. And Luke Kennard, I don't know if you saw that game winner, Zach.
Wasn't it? He hit the 3-pointer to tie it and was fouled, and then he won the game for them on the free throw, right?
Think you're right. It was earlier in the week. I'd have to go look.
It was a 4-point play. They were down 3. He was fouled on the 3-pointer that he hit, and then the time ran out, and he went to the line and hit the free throw for the win.
Yeah, basically that was his best game ever, and then he followed it up with an okay game, and then last night another great game. Yeah, I think he's the new leader. I thought it would be Terrence Mann, but Terrence Mann has not done much.
Yeah,
so Luke Kennard's the guy there until further notice. That's why he's a must grab for me, and he's only 10% owned. And then we'll break into the rest. So some of these guys are just fill-ins for starters, but they're doing really well. So I'll just hit the fill-in guys first. Kevin Love, if he's not owned, 38.8 average within, well, it's basically 2 games he's taken over as the power forward, but he's only 30% owned. Grab him right now. You know what? He's not even just a fill-in, though, because the starting power forward is out for at least 2 weeks, I think. So you could almost call him a must-grab. I just didn't want to because of his injury history and his age, but he's right up there. Willie Hernan Willie Hernan is filling in as the center for New Orleans, and he has a 38.4 average, 5% owned, dude. So, great stream, great grab until Jonas Valanciunas is back.
Yep.
Another fill-in is Bismack Biyombo. As long as Ayton is out, Biyombo's been going off, and he's only 50% owned. So go grab him. Otto Porter Jr. is filling in for Draymond Green at the power forward position. 30 average in the last week, and he's only 30% owned. So another great grab, fill-in guy for at least a week. I can't speak English today. Who else is a fill-in? That might be all my fill-in players that are bench roles. I guess I was thinking Hassan Whiteside, but he could stream him today, but I'm pretty sure Gobert's almost back.
Okay.
I don't have Hassan Whiteside on this list, because he's even filling in, he's only been okay.
Well, he's gotten over 30 fantasy points each game since he's been filling in.
I don't
Not
think
terrible.
so.
Yeah, I've had him.
I think he had a couple of 20 games, 26, but...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's doing decent, but it's not going off.
Yeah.
But you can stream him as well since Gobert's still out today. And then other players who are kind of just making a name for themselves on their team, I think, or just at least had a good week. Cameron Johnson, 32.7 average. He's on the stacked Phoenix team, but he's a great shooter, and when he's hot, and I think it's one of those streaks right now. So,
yeah,
12.2% owned. Go and grab him. Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I wanted to talk about him because he had his best week basically this year. I don't know if it's real because he had 2 really good games and then a mediocre game.
Yeah, I saw that.
So
I don't
30
trust
average. Yeah, 30 average in the last week, 63% owned, but see if he can get him and see if there's a chance he could return to last year's form. When Lonzo was out, he was averaging 35. So
yeah.
See if he can return there. Otherwise, it's just a stream. Jayshawn Tate, 29.3 average in the last week. Kevin Porter Jr. is out, so that's opening it up for him. 28.86% owned. We know he's the best. He's the starting small forward on Houston. It was just a young, bad team, but they could put up numbers. So he's at the very least he's streamable. Definitely a grab in 12-team league. Mason Plumlee is the starting center for the Hornets, and 28.7 average in the last week. Only 22.9% owned. I mean, he's a starter, so if you want a starter on your bench in fantasy, I think this is the guy. Go grab him. Killian Hayes, 28.2 average in the last week, 33.1% owned. He's playing next to Cade Cunningham pretty well. I kind of like him as a grab if he can keep the defensive numbers up. He's basically been doing well this week because he's getting the steals and blocks. And if he can keep that up, he's a must roster in 12-team leagues. And this guy should be higher on the list. Paddy Mills, 31.9 average in the last week, only 25% owned. We knew there would be a void for scoring with Kevin Durant out. I think I might even add this guy to must grab because, I mean, he's basically their sixth man, right? The team's not stacked. It's Kyrie and James Harden in the starting lineup, with some scrubs, and then maybe Aldridge. And the bench is Paddy Mills, Blake Griffin, rookie small forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's basically the third best player on the team, and I don't really struggle to say that because Aldridge and Blake Griffin are washed. So I'd go grab him until Kevin Durant's back.
Yeah.
D'Anthony Melton, I think I got this number wrong. Yeah, I definitely got this number wrong. I think he's got a 30 average in the last week. He's been going off, actually, for the Memphis Grizzlies as a bench guard. And I think he can keep doing that until... God, who's the guy out right now? Of course, I blank. But
he's got a 32 average the last 7.
Yeah, 10% owned. He's been going off. He's going to keep doing it until they have their starting small forward who's out right now. And he's going to be out for another maybe 3 weeks. But Melton is filling that void for kind of just filling in stats. So he's a great grab right now as well. I've been streaming him on and off. I shouldn't have dropped him though. He's just doing really good. So that was a mistake. Zach, you have any other players you want to talk about?
Yeah, I do have one. Baghdan Bagdanovic on Atlanta.
Oh yeah, how high is he owned? I guess I thought he was higher.
56%
Okay.
owned. He missed 5 games with right knee soreness. But he came back and he's played 2 games and he's had 34 and 32 fantasy points. So is he like a must pick up?
Yeah, he's a great grab.
Okay.
The team's so stacked with like talent that I don't know. I hope he can maintain it. Like he's good enough to. It's just, yeah, I would grab him, add him to the grab list for sure because he's got the talent. He's on a high. It should be a high offensive team. They're just Trae Young's doing his thing, and everybody else is not filling in enough. Like maybe Bogdan right now is doing the second best.
Yeah,
but they need the big man and to pick it up. But yeah, that's a great guy. Anybody else?
that's my main one.
Because he played like 3 to 4 weeks of the season, and he wasn't a high fantasy guy anyway, so it's not worth one of your IR spots at this point. I put Kemba on here as a question mark because people are dropping him. It seems like he's maybe playing injured still on that knee. I feel like I'm still predicting he's going to get a knee scope and get it cleaned because it's like nothing's torn, but he's got those kind of symptoms where it's always sore. Daniel Gafford is a drop because even though I was high on him at the beginning of the season, they have 3 starting centers. And also the starting power forward, Ryu Hachimura's back. So he's another guy who could steal rebounds and scoring down low, who's a real good scorer. So it's just Gafford, it's not, any of them aren't really rosterable anymore. Montrezl Harrell's almost a drop too. If you go look at his numbers in the past week, he's pretty bad. So they're just taking away from each other in that team, in the big men section, and you can't really depend on any of them. Al Horford I put on here because Robert Williams is kind of taking the mantle. I mean, Al Horford could always have like a renaissance week or two, but he's just not what he was 5 years ago. So,
Yeah,
kind of is what it is. And then there were other guys being dropped that I didn't understand why they were being dropped, so I didn't add them to the list. But
okay.
Yeah, Zach, do you have any other concerns about your team?
I think we hit everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about everything.
So I'll go over the schedule real quick. You really can't even stream this week. This must be one of the makeup weeks for missed COVID games because a lot of teams have 4 or 3 games. If you go through each day on the grid, it's like a stacked lineup. So, which is fun for fantasy. It's gonna be a really fun week 16. But I'll go over two teams real quick that have only 2 games this week. Utah Jazz. So you can't really stream any of those guys. Like Joe Ingles was a streamer this past week.
Yeah.
Dude, that's it. That's the only team with a 2-game week. And like, I don't know if you're looking at the grid right now too, Zach, but you can click through each day.
Yeah.
And it's just a super stacked, like almost every day. Thursday might be a stream day. That's the lowest day, but it's still a lot of teams playing. And Saturday. So maybe Thursday and Saturday you can look at. But every other day this week is stacked with
a lot of games.
Basketball games. It's going to be really fun. I'm pumped.
Yeah.
So anyway, that'll do it. So hopefully we gave you some good trade ideas and guys to grab, which is the most important part for each week's episode. And we might have hit an hour this week, but oh well, it is what it is. Got more info.
Yeah, just thank you for listening, everybody. Like Jake said, hope we're able to help you with your lineups this week. And just, go follow us on our social media. We got Facebook, facebook.com/Garden of Sports Podcast. We have Instagram, instagram.com/Garden of Sports. We have Twitter, twitter.com/GOSpod2021. Let's get those social medias popping off, and we'll catch you right back here next week. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.